Hello, this is Patrick, and welcome to some more Tesla news. It's been a while. Had another baby, River, and wow, it was a handful. And Sawyer's even a bigger handful. Anyways, lots of Tesla news in the past few weeks, and I just wanted to go over some of the biggest stories. One is Tesla as a company is doing great. They had a record number of deliveries of the electric cars, 139,300 vehicles delivered. So this is just phenomenal. The S and the X, they've delivered over 15,000, and the 3 and the Y over 124,000. So this is huge. It's their biggest quarter ever. It's an all-time delivery record for Tesla, beating its Q4 2019 deliveries of 112,000. And of course, last quarter, which was 90,000, which was during the pandemic and the shutdown of the production. So it's just really cool to see that Tesla is still doing really well, even though all the other automakers are having a hard time. And it looks like they're going for another record this current quarter right now. So they lowered the price of the Model S, and then Lucid announced the price of their new sedan, just a little bit less than the Model S. And then so Elon decided to change the base price of the Model S to $69,420. And if you're not familiar with it, it's just fun numbers for him. He's just silly like that. He likes memes, and he couldn't resist the number 69 and the number 420 and their different significances, because it was just a few $100s difference from what the price was before. So it didn't take much to lower it to get it at that price. Elon said, "The gauntlet has been thrown down. The prophecy will be fulfilled. Model S price changes to $69,420 tonight," and did. So this is the cheapest that Model S long range has ever been. This is the over 400-mile range Model S. And speaking of range, Tesla had their battery event since the last time I did a video, and there's tons of videos about that. But the big news is the new 4680 battery cell. It's bigger, 6 times more power, 5 times more energy density. They're saying, 16% more range, 6 times more power. I would imagine this also means that it can charge faster. And this is what's going to be used in the Model Y in Germany and in Texas, and the Cybertruck, the Model S Plaid. So that was something else they announced, and it's pretty cool. It's a new cell design, cell factory, anode material, cathode material, and lots of things just to get more efficiency out of the vehicles. So it's not just packing more kilowatt hours of battery into a vehicle. It's doing things like making the battery part of the structure of the vehicle and getting rid of the modules, having better cooling. All these things, they combine together to get a much more efficient car. So, it can go further on less energy. Pretty cool. All these things they're doing to stack up, like getting rid of the tabs on the batteries. A lot of innovative things that they're doing instead of just stacking more batteries. They're doing all kinds of crazy things. And because they do this, it makes the batteries cheaper too. So they announced that there's going to be a $25,000 Tesla coming out eventually. Who knows when they're going to announce it for sure. I mean, I guess they already announced it, but when they're going to show off the prototype or what they're going to ship. Supposedly they're designing a new Tesla in Germany and one in China. And both of those are supposed to be smaller than the Model 3. So it'll be interesting to see which one comes out first, or which design they pick, or what segment of vehicle they're going to be. $25,000 Teslas, $10,000 to $15,000 cheaper than the cheapest Model 3 right now. Big self-driving news. So Elon tweeted out that they're rolling out the beta of full self-driving next week. This is the new full 4D rewrite where it's using time as a factor in calculating the depth from all the cameras and sensors around the Tesla vehicle on the full self-driving computer. And that was one of the big things, is all the power in the full self-driving computer now has the ability to do a much higher frame rate. On the older NVIDIA hardware, it was basically a slideshow. It wasn't a very high frame rate. Instead of doing like 60 frames a second, it was doing like 8 or something. I can't remember. But it varied per camera. Like the more important cameras on the front had a higher frame rate than like the sides. And yeah, there was just Elon thought they could make it work, but ultimately they had to upgrade the hardware in the computer. So, yeah, Elon says this is working virtually hands-free from his house to work, going through road construction. He says almost no interventions, and wow, beta here at the end of October. My bet will be that during Christmas they're going to release, or maybe at the very end of the year, a wide beta, or to more people that aren't the small private beta, and then he'll have technically made it full self-driving, feature complete by the end of the year, which he's been saying all year. Although, just because it's feature complete doesn't mean, no interventions, you can sleep in the back seat. This means hands on the wheel, or possibly monitoring your face from the camera, which leads me into this hacker that revealed what the driver-facing camera is currently looking for as of some of the latest firmware updates. So it's looking now for a bunch of crazy things, like whether or not it's been blinded, like you're covering it, it's too dark, eyes are down, eyes are closed, eyes are normal, up, head down, looking left, right, using your phone, sunglasses, likely eyes up or down when you're wearing sunglasses. So there's a lot of theories on whether or not this could be for the insurance premium, something you can activate if you think you're a safe driver. They could already be using this right now to determine who's going to get into the beta. Full self-driving and all the stuff that it can do with all the cameras around it. Electric, where I'm pulling most of these articles from, also reported that the bird's eye view is going through autopilot camera in the full self-driving package. And this is something Elon tweeted about. And in the picture that they have on their article is not what it's going to look like. This is a retrofit that people have been doing, and something that's in the rear view camera input to give you the full self-driving, but that's mounting additional cameras around the car. There's these fisheye cameras that'll get the 360 view, and the Teslas don't really monitor that down below that much. So it's going to be a vector-based one, utilizing the sensors and all the data that the car interpolates to create the 3D world around it. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, Elon's calling it a vector space bird's eye view, and coming with full self-driving. So that'll be cool. I don't know if it's as good as actually seeing everything around you, but technically it should be good enough. I mean, they're claiming it's gonna be good enough for full self-driving. So full self-driving, the current updates, they pushed out a software update to enable cars to automatically drive through green traffic lights, which is a cool progression, because when it first came out, you had to pull the stock whenever you came to an intersection. Then they did an update where if there was a car in front of you that went through a green light, you could also go through a green light without intervention. And now it's going to go through simple intersections with a green light without intervention. So that's cool. Don't have that update myself yet, but I can't wait. Sentry mode coming to Amazon's Ring with new USB hub. So Ring doorbell, they're going to be coming out with an adapter, I guess, sometime next year that'll plug into a Tesla to have it access the Sentry mode videos. So it's not super clear on if they actually have a partnership with Tesla on this, or they're just doing it. Because technically, I mean, there could be a USB storage device with cellular connection. It could be done without Tesla's permission, I suppose. If you don't want full self-driving, but you want the enhanced autopilot, which used to be an option, which wasn't an option during the summer, is now back an option, you can buy it without having to pay the $8,000 for full self-driving. It's down to $4,000, and this gives you the navigate on autopilot, auto lane change, auto park, and summon. What it is missing is auto steer on city streets, basically traffic light and stop sign control. So those two things are like double the price. And right now, they're not necessarily worth an extra $4,000. The stoplight and traffic control thing is very beta-ish. Although they keep saying they're going to raise the price of full self-driving, it's probably going to be $10,000 as soon as it actually comes out in January, or at least $9,000. Or they're also talking about a subscription base, so I don't know if it's going to be like $100 or $200 a month, or whatever the price is going to be. It'll be interesting. Let me know what you guys think. I had reported earlier that Lucid announced their new sedan, and Elon changed the price. That's the low-end Model S. Now, the high-end Model S is the S Plaid. It's going to have 220 miles of range, 200 miles per hour, and 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. This was announced at Battery Day, and you can actually order it right now. It's going to ship later next year. It's probably going to have those new cells in it, so you're going to also have a faster charging time. Yeah, this is going to be the car to beat. This is like the super car because the Roadster is not quite ready yet, but it basically has all the same specs as the Roadster. The acceleration is 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, quarter mile less than 9 seconds, and it's a tri-motor vehicle. I'd get one, except it's going to be also the most expensive Tesla. And the way I'd configure it with autopilot and stuff, you're looking like over $150,000. The cheapest variant of it's $139,990. It's interesting. I want to know, though, are they going to have a Model X version of this, too? Because I like the X a lot better than the S for everything that I do. Although, Cybertruck, also tri-motor for half the price. That's probably going to be my next Tesla, if I ever get another Tesla. Well, I guess I eventually will, but I'm pretty happy with the one I have. My wife has, the Model 3 that I am in right now. There's also video of this tri-motor Plaid prototype running a lap faster than a McLaren P1. It's just ridiculous. You have to watch the video. I probably can't show it because I'll get takedown notice, but it's pretty cool. Model 3 news: the heated charge port function is being enabled over the air update. So it's not totally clear when they started putting these in the Model 3s, but the more recent Model 3s have the ability to have a heated charge port because people were having issues with the larger, flimsier charge port cover that is on the 3 icing over. Model S and X, it's a little bit smaller, a little bit heavier duty, but it would still ice over as well. And gas caps on regular cars ice over. So this is really just a bonus, I think, being able to heat it up. I'm thinking I don't have it in my wife's Model 3 because I've got the firmware update that's supposed to have it, and it wasn't in the notes. So, which is too bad because we live in Wyoming where it does get cold and ice over. But thankfully we have a garage and won't really have to worry about it unless we're traveling. Speaking of which, updates to the Model 3, they already have a mini hardware refresh coming out, and it's a new center console. And I just noticed the big reason probably why is the newer phones, like the new Note, don't fit in the old one. The cover is different. It's simpler design, kind of. It's more like a cross between what is currently in the 3s and what's in the Model S and X. You just have to look at the pictures. There's a real big debate on whether or not it's better or worse. I kind of like the current one, although I do have a Note phone, so I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see where it would be nice to not have the second cover in the way. Not a whole lot of news on the Model X, but finally there is some, and they increased the range. If you get the long-range Model X, it now has a range of 371 miles, which is 71 miles more than mine. Mine's got around 300. I'd like that ludicrous, but it's kind of tempting to be able to go an extra 70 miles without a charge. But I think a lot of this is just more efficiency because they're talking 105 miles MPGe, and I believe my first Model X, it was like 98 or something like that. So they're just making the permanent magnet motors, and they must be having slightly different cell chemistry or design or something to make them more efficient, or it could just be the wheels, because they've been updating wheels. The Model Y has different wheels than the 3, and I don't know, the wheels look the same though. What do you guys think? How are they getting that extra mileage? How do they get that new MPGe rating? Man, sorry, this is a lot of news, but I just wanted to talk about Rivian just for just a second. They've got a truck prototype testing footage where they're showing 118-degree heat, towing uphill, no problem. I tow in my Model X all the time, no problem. Well, except it uses a ton of energy. So we're looking at like 3 times when I'm using the camper, which is pretty much maxing out the 5,000 pound capacity. It's somewhere in the 4,000 range. Yeah. So if you've got like the Rivian, which could tow 11,000 pounds. So you can tow 11,000 pounds in a Rivian, and that's got to totally cut your range. It'll be interesting to see how that really works out in the real world and how the Cybertruck works out. If you get that 500 mile range Cybertruck, are you really looking at more of a 200 mile range usable? when towing a large capacity. And gas vehicles do the same, so it'll be interesting, because like everything about towing an electric vehicle is amazing with the instant torque and the stability of the different motors and the wheels and everything. The range, yeah, it takes a huge hit. Model Y. So we got a Model Y at my office. I'll hopefully do a video with it someday and show off the differences between the different Teslas. But they've got the third row version coming out next month. So that's the 7-seater. Can't wait to see what size of humans fit in the very back, because I seen it in person when it was a prototype, and it looked like a cross between the seats of the Model X rear and the little jumper seats in the Model S rear. So somewhere in the middle. So I'm thinking like younger teenagers and lower, or short adults. I think your legs are just going to be really cramped more than anything, and you're going to have to cramp the people in the middle. They're going to have to scoot forward. Because I have the 7-seater now, the Model X, and it's nowhere near as roomy as the 6-seater that my mom currently has, my old one. Well, we'll see how this ends up going. Speaking of the Model Y, if you want it to go faster, if you didn't get the performance version, for $2,000, you can shave a half second off, and they'll send a little software update, and bam, it's a faster vehicle. It goes from 4.8 seconds down to 4.3 seconds. I don't know if it's worth it for sure. We're probably not going to get that at our office. There's no need for it. But if it was my personal vehicle, that might be something I'd save up in the, change drawer or something and buy someday. Or it's interesting because the motors are the same in the performance and the all-wheel drive versions of the 3 and the Y, except supposedly they, pick the top performing builds to put in the performance version. You could argue that may have been the case in the earlier productions, but now that they're doing the mass productions, potentially all of them are capable of being performance. It'll be interesting to see what people hack. I know there are hacks already where people are selling performance upgrades at half the price. And of course, Tesla's blocking them with software updates, and it's a cat and mouse thing. It'll be interesting to see how people go about doing this. We talked about towing at the Cybertruck, and Tesla is now making superchargers planned for Cybertrucks because they're freaking huge. So they're giving a little bit more spacing to some of the spaces to allow for Cybertrucks to charge. The Cyberquad, there's a gallery on Electrek showing off more pictures of it. I saw it in the dark, and it looks sharp, like literally sharp. I'd be afraid of wearing shorts on this thing and burning my legs, or falling into it or something. It looks cool, but yeah, practicality of it, I don't know. I'm not 100% keen on. But I do really want an electric ATV. I have one that's gas, and as soon as that motor dies, I'm converting it. I'm actually actively looking for one that does have a dead motor so I can try and do a conversion. I think that'd be really fun. Their EV West is now selling a block kit, a small block V8, I think, drop-in motor, so you can do conversions a lot easier, which I think is awesome. I gotta get through this thing. Sorry it's so long, but it's been a while. I'm just excited. I want to get through a lot of the news articles that really caught my eye over the past few weeks. There was a network outage, and it affected getting into your car, and I was actually in a point where I didn't have my Tesla ring. I got a little fat. I'm going to get my wife to make me one a size up, or lose some weight. My phone, I hadn't paired yet to the vehicle, so I couldn't get into the vehicle for a second there. It wasn't a long outage, but it was enough that I took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter. Just something to be aware of. Always have a backup. Get that Tesla ring at teslatrip.com/ring. $100. They're pretty cool. Tesla is getting into the mining business. They're buying a lithium claim for about 10,000 acres in Nevada. Other reasons, they're kind of internalizing a lot of stuff to get the cost down on batteries. California is going to ban the sale of ICE cars in 2035. So they're recognizing electric's the way to go. And last but not least, a little bit of boring news. Las Vegas Loop is almost complete. Elon says it's going to open up in about a month, and it's going to have regular Tesla vehicles and tunnels, which is more exciting than it sounds. And he showed like a people mover, like a bus basically, and then deleted the tweet. And they've been showing these videos of basically Model X chassis that can hold more people in them for moving them in these tunnels. it'll be interesting to see what they debut here in the next month. It's probably just going to be Model X's, maybe, to start with. I don't know. I want to go down and check it out as soon as they get it done. No CES this year, but I'm sure there'll be some reason to go to Vegas. But yeah, the picture's pretty cool. It shows where it goes to the supercharger at the Fremont Street Experience and loops back around and goes down to the Stratosphere, Circus, where the convention center is, and around all the way to the Orleans and the whole Las Vegas Strip, basically. It goes around. And these boring tunnels are pretty cool. If you look at the original videos, you just drive onto a platform, it lowers you down, and you go 120 miles an hour through the tunnel and pop up on the other side. So these drives that only take literally a minute or two versus like 20 minutes. So, because the traffic in highly dense areas like that is just ridiculous. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you like these videos, so I'll keep making them. Subscribe if you haven't, and check out our rings at teslatrip.com. My wife is trying to get through the back orders right now, now that she's done having babies. Yeah, just thanks again for watching all these years. I know some of you guys have been watching since we did PSP hacking, what was it, 15 years ago? A long time ago. I think it was 15 years ago. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.